Hello, we are the Voices of Experience. Four pals from Toronto, Canada. All of us with quite a few miles traveled already down life's highway. While that may not translate directly into voices of wisdom, we can promise you an entertaining half hour of discussion on a wide range of topics of current interest. So sojourn with us for a while. You'll hear a variety of points of view. You'll be amused. You'll be provoked. You'll be stimulated.
Good afternoon or good day, everyone. Welcome to this podcast. Today's topic is going to be artificial intelligence. The title being Artificial Intelligence, Friend or Foe? Now, some of you may know a lot about AI, as it's affectionately called. It is projected to be deployed almost everywhere over the next 20 years or so. It will drive our cars, run our homes, manage our investments, do all the repetitive jobs in our economy, plus a lot of other high-end jobs like medical diagnoses and the such. Now, for many, this may be a good thing, but it has a number of downsides, and we're going to talk about some of them today. And one of the big ones which has been identified by individuals, intellectuals talking about this subject has to do with its impact on the job market. Now, I'm going to ask my friends here what their thoughts are in this regard. In particular, I'm going to start with Andrew Wood. Now, Andrew Wood is a teacher with the Toronto District School Board, retired, and he continues to do his profession now, currently online. Andrew, what do you think of artificial intelligence, and how do you think it might affect your profession?
Well, thank you for that question, Al. Hello, everyone. Hi, Sarab. Hi, Mario. I'm glad you asked me that question there, Al. I'm going to start with a little bit of what do I feel about artificial intelligence. And I've just acquired an artificial intelligence in my home within the last few weeks. And her name is Alexa. She's my new friend. As a matter of fact, Alexa is not one person. She is 4 people. Because I bought my first one, and I loved it so much that I bought 3 more for other rooms in my house. Alexa, tell me a joke.
How is duct tape like the Force?
How is duct tape like a
It has a
force?
dark side, a light side, and it binds the galaxy together.
Thank you, Alexa. No, she's right here beside me. She's my pal. She tells me lots of stuff. Okay, good. Now, back to your question here. And it is significant. I'm joking, but you know what the fact is, though, that I'm living with an AI, and it is making my life a lot more convenient in a number of ways. But in terms of the teaching now, that's what you asked me about. Teaching is becoming technologized more and more. All the time, of course. I've been teaching nonstop now. We're in September 2020, and since March, I have not stopped teaching online. So that's already an artificial situation, isn't it? But I don't want to go on.
Andrew, if I may interject here, what do you think about the possibility of robots replacing you? I mean, you are not really needed. An artificial intelligence could use your image on the screen right now and carry out the same function that you do.
Yeah.
What would you think of that?
Okay. Well, I will tell you now, since you're asking. I think yes, both it's inevitable, and no, it's not possible. And both of those things are true. They're true in different ways. For teaching some subjects, informational stuff, math and whatever, I think an AI could do an adequate job and a good job. What I teach, as a matter of fact, is something called critical reading and creative writing. And both of those things are tremendously personal. And it's one-on-one with the kids, and it's individual in a small group. And I do not see an AI taking over anytime soon with my critical reading and creative writing.
But yours is your specialty right now is only one of a broad spectrum of teaching. that has to be done. Now, I'd like to just give a little bit of history as to what is going on in this process of artificial intelligence, because it really began about well over 250 years ago. Now, I remember in my experience, when the introduction of the steam engine came in, there were a lot of people were put out of work because they had a cottage industry where people were doing work in their cottages. Well, they got these steam engines, they put them in factories, they simplified the jobs, and they threw everybody out of work. And then about 100 years ago, when we introduced cars into for general use in society as a whole throughout the world, there was a massive reduction in the number of horses. Consider the city of London had 10 to 20,000 horses drawing carts and municipal vehicles all the time. All of them are gone. Now think of all the subsidiary industries about that, like cleaning the streets. All of that's gone just because of an introduction of new technology. Mario, what do you think are going to be the impact on jobs of artificial intelligence?
Thanks, Sal, and hello, everybody. First of all, let me just say to Andrew created this imagery with Alexa there, you know, of Star Trek and Harry Mudd. You know, I don't know if you guys if people are Star Trek fans, but Harry Mudd created these artificial intelligence dummies, and they were all servants to him and helping him around. And then he created one, which was his wife. Oh. And every time his, he wanted to basically feel, I guess, a little normal, he would press on a button and his wife would start scolding him, Harry Mudd, Harcourt Harry Mudd, you low-life person, you know. That's how Alexa sounded for some reason. I don't know, Andrew. And you got her in every single room? Now that is something that I think we got to talk. My wife is a counselor, so maybe we can talk there. But
artificial intelligence will be programmed to abuse us.
There you go.
Because we want to be abused.
Not true.
Well, I don't like that. Andrew.
There is a little problem here. There are 2 rooms in my home that does not have an Alexa device in it, so I'm still looking for more. Let's make that clear.
Well, okay. First of all, let me answer the question that Al asked, which I think is very important. And it is that, it's going to affect jobs. It has affected jobs. Not only technology has, as Al said earlier, things change and we have to be comfortable with change. And part of our society, folks, is that when change comes, especially technological, we have to be as a society up to retrain those who are going to be losing their jobs. And it doesn't happen overnight. AI has been around now for at least 30 years and been developing slowly. I mean, tellers, for example, you go to a bank and you're having a machine there basically do your interactions. Phone receptionists, okay, they've gone by the dodo kind of thing, right? Nobody's around anymore. It's all automated. You call up somebody on the phone and guess what? You have to go through an AI system before you can possibly talk to anybody. Of course, AI is not as smart yet as it should be or as it's going to be, but it will affect jobs in manufacturing, robotics, exploration, a lot of things. And even I'm afraid to say that teaching and other kind of jobs that could be possibly replaced or altered in a way could have that. The scary thing is, where do we draw the limits?
Okay, Mario, I'd like to give you an example of something that was in the news. I think it was yesterday. Yeah. Ford Motor Company has indicated they're going to be opening a new auto plant to build electric cars somewhere in Michigan, near Detroit. It's going to produce all electric cars, and it's only going to have 300 employees, where previously it might have had 3,000. Now, imagine that on a scale of an entire society, where you've all got these people going out. in past instances, with the exception of the horses, back about 100 years ago, when people lost their jobs, there was a transition period where they could go into other careers. There were all sorts of other options. In the case of the horses in London, well, they all went to the glue factory because they didn't need him anymore. And we are going to be in a very similar situation, I think. They're going to have all of these people in middle management, in blue-collar jobs that are going to be going out of it, and they can't all become AI technicians, or they can't all go into service trades such as massage or similar personal services like that, because those things are going to be automated too. There's, I think, no place to hide. What do we do with all these people? Andrew?
Well, I just heard you suggest, correct me if I'm wrong, that people should be sent to the glue factory. That's what I heard you say. That's a thought. I mean, it's a thought. Well, I mean, you know, but seriously, you know, if people are going to become redundant, and let's face it, a lot of people already are redundant. There's no jobs for them. That's where the thing of a universal basic income becomes important. And also we have to find other things for them to do, you know.
Maybe we have to redefine how we consider earning a living.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Right? Maybe humanity is evolving beyond the menial labor or the labor aspect of it. Maybe we should be looking at something different. Yes, Al.
Yeah, I want to, hi guys, everybody, welcome. And I want to talk what I've been witnessing of artificial intelligence in the marine field. I was sailing in 1971. There we had to have navigation equipment. You had people who knew how to take sights so that the ship had to go from place A to place B. By the time I left, they had reduced the amount of officers. They had, there was no need of taking sights because now they have redundant GPS systems on board. So the job of a navigator vanished. The second, the job of the radio officer vanished. Though the efficiencies are there. And this is all because of artificial intelligence. Now, I just want to tell you define what artificial intelligence is. And going forward, definitely you're going to have a paradigm shift in the type of job losses you're going to have because it's going to be replaced by more efficient machines. Now, I want to say, what is artificial intelligence? It's very important to read this now. Artificial intelligence is a wide-ranging branch of computer science concerned with building machines capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. AI is an interdisciplinary science with multiple approaches, where advancements in machine learning and deep learning are creating a paradigm shift in virtually every sector of the tech industry. You're talking about entertainment, to making a toast, to driving driverless cars, so many things. Everything is going to shift. But I'll tell you one more thing. When everything is controlled that way through the network or the internet, and if you have one EMP from the sun, everything crashes. That's why one of the ship's captain, my batchmate, he used to insist that people should still take sights, even if we have to keep in practice, because in case we have an EMP, you'll be lost out at sea. You wouldn't know where you are because GPS is what we're relying on. So,
well, I would like to point out something, gentlemen, that might be relevant. It is in the terms of the nature of the outcomes of artificial intelligence and intrusion into our society. What I see happening is not too different from what we've had to deal with the pandemic, where you have a lot of people out of work because something has happened to take over. Now, just assume that the economy is continuing on as it normally does. The economy is working, but all these people are out of work. Okay, well, we've seen what can happen, which, as Andrew said, maybe what are people going to do and how are they going to survive? What is their work going to be and how will they get an income? So what we're probably looking at here is something that's being talked about quite a bit by various governments, which is a universal guaranteed income. What do you think of that? Comments? Mario or
I'm
Andrew?
going to take it even one step further. Okay. Why is there any need for us to value products, services by the sense of money? Now, this is a little radical thinking, guys, but I'm going to propose it to you. What if nothing had value? Because let's put it this way, it's all artificial value. The cars, the homes, the equipment that we use, it's all artificial. Nothing really costs anything. It is a human construct that we're putting on there. We value our time. We value, we put dollars and cents to that. We put dollars and cents to services. We put dollars and cents to this. This is made out of nothing other than stuff that is already free, right?
Mm.
And even the energy that it takes to extract it and to manipulate it and to form it and to use it, it's all free. So here is my thing. It's time for us as a society, as a world, and maybe it's not right now, but maybe we're talking about 100 years from now, to stop valuing money and start looking at ourselves from a different perspective and actually looking at a different way of living. That way, everybody has everything they need. It's out there, and people can work for the betterment of themselves and in a different way, and then have AI take care of the stuff and have technology take care of stuff. Because after all, it's still free.
That's happened. That's happened in movies. If you look at Logan's Run, it's a total human construct where everything is in the dome and everything is a self-running economy, ecology, even the food system. And everything is run by machines. Everything.
Yeah, but they kill you when you hit age 30.
35.
Andrew,
Yeah, that's
Thanks, Sarah.
there's no place for us in Logan's world.
Yeah,
Andrew.
no, Mario, that's an interesting thought. You know, that's worthy of another episode, actually, Mr. Al, if you want to put that one in the bank. Well, that being the case, you know, if that were the case, I'm going to trade in my old Hyundai Elantra that's worth nothing. And I think I'll trade it in for a Mercedes, a new Mercedes, also worth nothing. So why not? It's the same thing.
You can have
Well-
anything you want, Andrew. This is part of it. You can have a 30,000-foot home if you want.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's worth nothing.
Yeah, but to respond seriously to what Mario said, it's intriguing. It's an intriguing concept, but the fact is that our whole paradigm does need to change, because capitalism, the capitalist system, is based on exploitation. It's based on consumption. It's based on ever more, and feeding greed. And that paradigm in the long run just is not going to work on this finite planet.
Gentlemen,
Sorry, Al, let me just say that, and maybe the concept of having a certain pay rate set, it may be something that could be the first step to getting to that paradigm.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, that sort of leads into another question where we say, what limits should we put on artificial intelligence? It seems if we take it to the extreme, it could be an ideal society where everybody has everything, nothing costs everything, and everybody lives an ideal life. But in the short run, I don't think that's likely because of resource constraints and also the residual of social behavior models. So let's say for the short term, what limit should we put on artificial intelligence? Now, I'd like to couch those words by saying that artificial intelligence is currently being developed by groups like Facebook, Google, Amazon. The entire purpose for that is to figure out ways to sell us more goods and more stuff, to fill our homes with goods that maybe we don't need. It's also to disrupt society by taking away jobs. The introduction of self-driving cars will destroy the taxi industry, for example. Maybe that's a good thing, particularly in an age of pandemics. But companies such as Uber started out giving people the experience of being their own bosses, of driving cars. That's what they sold people. But now they're moving on to self-driving cars, saying, screw you, drivers. We thank you for helping us make a multi-billion-dollar industry. Sayonara. So what limits should we be putting on artificial intelligence now?
There's no limits. There's no limits.
I don't know. I think there are limits. Just to answer your question, I know you're making a serious question there, Alan. It's my bent to try to make a joke out of it. But for me, the limit would be I've got 4 Alexa units right now. I think 6 would be plenty. So that's my answer really to your question. I think
Then
6
you'll be completely assimilated.
Yeah, 6. That's the limit. That's the limit. 6.
Resistance is futile. There we go.
But guys,
let me answer this, if I may, and that is that there should be, and privacy is obviously the major issue here, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is loss of control too. But let me talk about the privacy. Privacy, there has to be a firewall, something that is controlled by the actual person that has the artificial intelligence, whether it's in their home. I had an occasion recently where I had to change our furnace, and part of it was getting an artificial intelligence type of thermostat that you can actually control virtually from anywhere you are in the world if you wanted to. But that allows for a lot of potential hacking and all that, right? And even though they tell you that it's not possible, yeah, it is very possible. Anybody who has any kind of high-tech background knows the possibilities are there for that. So that some kind of firewalling of artificial intelligence within your own circle, I think, is key in order for people to be able to trust it down low.
Sarab?
yeah, I was just trying to approach it from differently. We are talking about the use of artificial intelligence, but in this whole artificial intelligence regime, there are so many different types. The one is called a narrow AI. It's also called a weak artificial intelligence. This is limited to context. It just simulates the human intelligence. Then you have artificial general intelligence. This is where your data from Star Trek and Westworld and all those people talk about. Then you have narrow artificial intelligence, which is now Google search, Siri, Alexa, driving self-cars, IBM Watson. But the most important thing is machine learning and deep learning, which is happening behind the scenes. In fact, in 2012, these guys, they showed them 10 million videos. Founder of Google Deep Learning Project feeds a neural network using deep learning algorithm, 10 million YouTube videos as a training set. The neural network learned to recognize a cat without being told what a cat is. Now, this is the dangerous part, ushering in breakthrough era for neural networks and deep learning funding. Because when the machines are learning new things, what they can do, we don't know. This is something which we're not even addressing. This is the future of AI. Where does the human fit in there?
So that is actually AI at its essence, right? That is AI, is the ability for it to learn. All we've been talking about so far is basically the infancy of AI, where we have the ability to communicate over the internet, but we still have, as human beings, we have control over what we're doing. But yeah, self-learning is actually AI. And that needs to have some controls too, because Arnold Schwarzenegger and Skynet, guys. I mean, come on, it could happen that someday they could come after us, right?
Well,
Gentlemen, and with regards to what you're talking about, Mary, I'd like to point out as one of the things I think is a limit on artificial intelligence. You do not need a smart meter to run your furnace. To me, that is something that the industry is selling you because they want to get your data.
Yeah.
Now, in some readings I have, they're doing similar things like that. If you have a robotic vacuum cleaner that goes around your floor cleaning stuff up, well, those things now have cameras. They're recording the shape of your living room. They're recording everything you say and do. in there with the idea of collecting information. Right now, it's mostly for marketing, and that's what Google is doing. They are pushing the artificial intelligence agenda as far as they can, but there's a lot of things we don't need artificial intelligence for. For example, why should we all have these labor-saving devices in our homes? We end up getting them, and then we have to go to the gym to exercise because we're out of shape. Why not just scrub our floors by hand and get the exercise by that? Now, this is a discussion that's not being taken anywhere anyway by anyone at the moment, except maybe people like myself.
Yeah.
But I think the key element that we should talk and spend the last few minutes on this is personal privacy and individualism, because Mario, you've touched on this as an important element. Who collects this information? What do they do with it? And who do they share it with? Saurabh, do you have any comments on this?
The only thing I have to say to wind down is technically the artificial intelligence is here to stay. It's going to change the way we're going to live. But the most important thing, you as an individual, you have to know your own body also, which is as complicated as outside. We have to understand ourselves also. We have our body to look after a galaxy of so many cells, which you're in charge. We are losing track of how to keep that in the fine fiddle to handle the stuff with the artificial intelligence, because you have to get your own wellness up. You have to evolve also into a better person, a better way of doing things. This also is very important. Better eating.
Saurabh, I understand Elon Musk has the dream of putting a computer chip in each of us. He's got one in a pig, and it seems to operate all right right now. But how far do we take this, Mario or Andrew?
Shall we say the Borg are just around the corner? Is that what you're trying to say to me?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly, let me just say my final section words, and this is that the control should be with us. But unfortunately, we're not the ones who create the technology for that. But again, it goes back to the firewall being within us. Having the ability to control exactly what technology we have in our homes. I did not go for the automated thermostat. I went for just a regular digital one here that I can control. But definitely, if somebody else has information about me, if somebody else has information about what I'm doing, my house, my layout, my life, my finances, my cars, my whatever, all of a sudden I can lose very quickly control.
Yeah.
And I think that is the key. We have to have the ability to have the control. Andrew, go ahead.
Well, yes, thank you. My final thought about this, I just finished watching a Netflix video that I highly recommend about social media, and you can look it up. It's in the documentary section. And they made the point, and these are the people who are inventing the systems. These are the people who are behind Facebook, who are behind the Google algorithms. And the problem is, gentlemen, that all of these artificial intelligences that are being set up are in service of the advertising, in service of the marketing, in service of making sales. And that's how they're viewing us. We are the product. Now, I didn't invent that phrase, but we do have to realize that the focus of these AI developers is in maximizing the sales and doing the marketing. And that's a problem. That right there is a huge problem, and we need to do a reset on that.
What I see when I see artificial intelligence these days, and I read up on how it's being developed, I get images of George Orwell's book 1984, and we know already, like during the pandemic, there have been issues that have come up where social systems have been imposed, or social philosophies have been imposed on groups, particularly the requirement to self-isolate, and deal collectively with an issue. it's entirely possible that that artificial intelligence could end badly if it's not managed properly. So Rab, perhaps you can give us one last word.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can have the best artificial intelligence. You still can't make a good omelette like me.
I don't know if that's true.
You have to program that to such an extent to
I don't
exactly
know.
have what you want. But this is going to happen. You know, you were saying, Mario, that you're like a thermostat which doesn't have too much of programming. Suppose they stop manufacturing that, and that's the only one you can buy is the one which is the controllable one in maybe 10 years' time. What are you going to do?
I have a fireplace in the house. It's okay. I'll chop wood.
Gentlemen, we've run out of time. We're at our 30 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this discussion. We'd like to carry it on longer, and I hope if you go at home and you listen to this, talk to the people in your family about this subject. This issue is coming. It's going to affect us all. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Okay.
Thank you, bye.
Ready?